Okay, we are live on a Friday night. I am Payo Time, and I'm joined by none other than Rams House. Rams
What's
House,
up?
how you, dude? We're doing it.
I know. This has been years in the making and it's
Years in the
actually
making.
happening.
I
Like that's crazy.
For anyone watching with us live or on the replay, thank you for tuning in either on my channel or Rams House's channel. Just, I guess we'll just start with Rams House. When did we start talking about doing a weekly show together?
This was probably 2022. Like
Yeah,
somewhere the beginning to middle of the season, and then it got lost in translation, and
yeah,
now I'm just glad the plane actually landed.
yeah,
It didn't
yeah.
just fly away.
And I would like to say that we like took 2 years to prep this amazing
Oh
show.
yeah.
That's
All the
just
brainstorming.
yeah, yeah. It's gonna be peak Rams content.
Oh yeah.
But if you're new to our channels or find us for the first time, we're two dudes that love talking about football. We're pretty chill individuals. We're great friends outside of YouTube. We met definitely through like Rams content, which has been cool. And I'm very thankful that we can collaborate. And our goal is to make this a weekly show on Friday
Mhm.
nights, and we would love your help. We do not have a name for the show, so if you have an idea for a name, let us know. We've gone through a few, but I don't think any of them has really stuck yet. And we have a couple of planned segments, but ultimately we want to hear from you guys. Do
Oh
you
yeah.
do you have any questions or things like that? We are going to preview the Rams Titans obviously in this live stream here, but yeah, definitely we're shouting out Porter and yes, rest in peace Charlie Kirk.
Mhm.
We got Rams mob there saying Dodson will play, and yeah, Steve Avila is out. And yeah, I did you listen to McVay's press conference today?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was very thankful when I heard that Dotson it will be available this game.
I know.
That's a huge win.
That is that is big. And if like you're being honest, picking between either of the guards that you'd want to play, I think Dotson arguably is the better one. No shot at Steve Avila at all. So I'm glad that if we had to have one of them, that it was Dotson.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. We got Andrew in the house. We got Clipper. Man, tons of cool people showing up.
I know,
Oh,
right?
Sheriff Joe with
The
Rams.
one and only
Yes. Yeah.
Sheriff Joe. I feel like you would be the type of person that would come up with like such a sick name for the show. So if you have any ideas, definitely comment down below because you're a big nickname guy. I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we briefly mentioned we should just ask Joe, but then we were like, let's
Mhm.
just see where it goes.
Yeah.
So right now we are the unnamed Rams show, and we're seeking a name, but that's cool. Andrew's saying I watched both of you separately. I'm surprised you guys. Yeah, yeah. We collabed last week, and that's when we were
Mhm.
like, hey, remember how we talked about doing a weekly show together?
Yeah. It just kind of came up naturally again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So I'm glad we can do this.
yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah. And then Nathan's here saying, "Let's go Rams." Well, let's before we get to our segments here, let's talk about this Rams Titans game. Rams house, what are you? No, not what are you most excited for? I'd say who are you most excited to see in this Rams game?
That's a very good question. This one you can go to so many different players when you're talking about the Rams and all the different kinds of players that we have. I think just given the news that we received today with JC Latham, their right tackle, being out,
Yeah,
and how good Byron Young looked last week against a good Texans team. Obviously, their offensive line was banged up. I'm excited to see if Byron Young can build on what he did last week,
yeah,
because I would argue that was, even if the numbers don't back it up, I would argue that was one of his better games he played as a pro. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to see what Byron Young can do on Sunday. How about you?
Oh yeah, I'm to be honest, I'm on the Nate Landman hype still.
Ooh.
And I know controversial Landman or Landman. Land.
Yeah.
I anyway, but you know who I'm talking about. I'm really excited to see what Landman can do in back-to-back games because like already he's one of the favorite Rams players after one game,
Oh yeah,
right?
to have a breakout, to have like his first game be that, to win the game for the team for a position that all Rams fans have been clamoring for to get an upgrade at for so long. Like I
Yeah.
don't think he could start any better than what he did.
Well, and it's not just the fumble at the end of the game to save, but like during the game, I remember in like this guy's all over the fields. Like he had like 10 tackles, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
great.
and it's crazy too because he got the NFC Defensive Player of the Week on top of that. So it's like what a debut for Nate Landman, especially for like we were hearing it all in camp, especially near the back end of it, how much he was picking up and how much the hype was truly picking up. And so I'm excited to see that actually like translated into production because we saw guys like Allen Robinson who we brought in had a lot of camp hype, and nothing against him, but that didn't really translate into that season. So
Totally.
excited to see that for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously we're stoked to just see the Rams and like
Oh yeah.
for all we know, Troy Reader is going to have a 3-sack game or something, and we're gonna be excited about it.
Yeah, that would be so surprising to me.
Willie is saying he's excited to see Devontae Adams again.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
what were your thoughts on Devontae's first game as a Ram and him moving forward?
Yeah, I think as Rams fans, at least I can speak for myself, I had extremely high like expectations as far as production goes,
Yeah,
to where when you look at the Bear production on its own, I think it's like 4 catches, 51 yards, something like that. It doesn't look all that impressive, but if you were a Rams fan and you watched the game and you saw first the attention he was taking was he took Derek Stingley the whole game, so it
yeah,
freed up Puka. But also the catches he made in key moments. Like I think about that dig route. I think it was on like 3rd and long or 2nd and long, and he basically plucked it off the turf and didn't let it touch the ground. And then that back shoulder one that Stafford threw. There's only a few kinds of receivers that can do that.
yeah,
So I was very impressed with what he did in week 1. And it excites me because I think there was a lot of stuff that didn't show up on the stat sheet that he did well that will begin to show up as the year goes on. What
yeah.
did you think?
Well, you brought up Stingley. Really, that entire Texans secondary is one of the best in the NFL right now. And there's not a lot of elite secondary units in the NFL. Like every draft, every offseason, you almost always hear every like content creator for their NFL team being like, yeah, we need a corner, right?
Yeah.
But the Texans are definitely one of those teams that have a healthy secondary, and we like the Rams played them at their best.
Mhm.
And for Puka to go off the way he did, I know a lot of people were like, I want to see Devontae get 150 yards and 7 touchdowns in one game, going over the top. I also think there is an element of still building chemistry with Stafford there. Not that they're not both seasoned pros and seasoned veterans, but I think his presence was definitely felt, and you have to respect the Texans secondary for what it is. I do not believe that the Titans secondary is on the same level
No.
as the Texans, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited to see Devontae again for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, and what's exciting about that too with what you brought up with the Titans secondary probably not being as good as the Texans. It's like they have their standout players, but I would say that like the Texans secondary is very complete all around.
Yeah,
When you go from each corner, even to the safety positions, like Petrie who can play nickel and all of that. And I think with the Titans, it's like they're not a bad group, but it's a little bit thinner there.
yeah,
And I would if I were to pick out of whatever corner I wanted to start for the Rams today between Snead and Stingley, I would definitely pick Stingley.
yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see how that matchup plays out for sure.
For sure, yeah, and even just when you have an elite secondary, like let's tell it like it is. There were some drives where the Texans just played really good defense, and the Rams
Yeah.
had to punt the ball away. Right? Still thankful that the Rams, Stafford didn't throw an interception or anything like that.
Mhm.
But anyway, it'll be interesting to see them against another AFC South opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting how many AFC South opponents we play so early.
Yeah, they really front load today.
Yeah, they did.
It's almost like the schedule makers are like, we want to get all the Rams AFC South games out of the way in like the first 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, and then like save a bunch of the good matchups. It's weird to think that we're playing the Eagles soon too. Like
Yeah.
after this, like you
Well,
got two important games obviously that we played last week and then this week that are important, but they're obviously AFC like out of conference, and then you got the Eagles rolling in, which will be fun too.
well, that reminds me. Later on in the show, I do want to once again read off the Rams' most important games to you and get your reaction again, because that was fun last week.
Sweet.
Yeah,
That was fun.
Rams Mob is here. He's saying he wants a Jordan Whittington finally have his breakout game. Oh, don't we all? Don't we?
I know.
What are your thoughts on Whittington?
Oh, I love Whittington. Like, he's such an easy player to root for and to get behind. And I think that he's a player that it's not about him not having production when he's given the chance. I think he maximizes on every opportunity he gets.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter on the opportunities he ends up getting from the Rams and how many snaps they give him.
Yeah.
But he's very versatile, obviously. He can do special teams. He can do it on the offense. We almost saw him have a kick return last week, which I think you actually predicted. You predicted that the Rams were going to get a kick return, and that almost happened.
Almost.
So I think it's just more of a matter of like how many reps he gets more than anything, right?
Yeah. And I think that we've seen enough in his development. And honestly, going back in the offseason, when the Rams decided to move off of Cooper Kupp, I think part of that decision, maybe not like the key decision, right? Because there's a lot of factors that went into that. But I think part of that is Whittington, the Rams believing in him to be a productive wide receiver, right? And I think that some people are in this mindset of like peak Jordan Whittington is like peak Van Jefferson, where I actually think Whittington has a little bit higher of a ceiling than Van Jefferson ever had with the Rams.
I agree. And it's like he's a player I think that can be used a little bit more like a versatile player than like Van Jefferson was more of a guy who could stretch the defense, try to stretch the field and open things up for other people and have his occasional deep shot, jet sweep here and there. But like Whittington is a great blocker, used to play running back, I think. And so I think that helps a lot with like breaking tackles and what the Rams like to value in their receivers too.
Definitely. We got Bradley hanging out in the house. Good to see you. Let Stafford sling the ball for some touchdowns. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Titans will go after Emmanuel Forbes, so I'm excited to see how he responds to that. Yeah, I'm of the mindset of, I think I've told you and Sheriff Joe this, and I've said it on this channel before. Going into the draft, everyone was like, oh, the Rams are drafting a corner. And I remember before the draft being like, they might not if they really believe in Emmanuel Forbes.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, they didn't draft a corner in the draft. And like, what are your thoughts on where Emmanuel Forbes is at? I'm still in the camp of really excited for him. I like what I saw week 1, but I don't think we've seen enough, because the Texans did not really get much of a pass game going against the Rams.
No. Yeah, I really like Forbes, and he's another one of those players that's easy to root for just based on the fact that like his team that drafted him gave up on him so early. And I really like to see those kinds of stories that the Rams continue to produce all these different kinds of players. And I feel like even just seeing from last year in the one game that he played, and then this year, the one game he played, I think you've seen the amount of strides that he's taken. Obviously, he bulked up like weight-wise too, but he's exciting to watch because you don't have a bunch invested into him, like a big contract or a bunch of draft picks, but he's essentially a first-round draft pick that you were able to pick up really early on after the team took him. And from what we heard from camp and what we saw last week, it was really impressing, and he seemed to take strides from what he had last year. And I think a lot of what it comes down to for the cornerback, like players in general in the NFL, is their confidence. If they have their confidence shot, it's hard to play cornerback and to have the short memory and all those things. It feels like he has his confidence back with the Rams, to where on the Commanders, he seemed to be losing that with the poor scheme fit and how everything is panning out. So I'm excited to see, kind of track him along as the season goes on and see what he does and how he'll build, because he will get better as the year goes on. But it'll be interesting to see like how good does he get,
Well, and I was listening to Sheriff and Tuna on I think it was Wednesday, and shout out Sheriff Sheriff Joe Bags and Tuna.
Oh, yeah.
Love their show. Tuna was talking about how he talked to Emmanuel Forbes and like he's bulked up, put on some muscle, and just he talked about like he's a hard worker, right? And I really appreciated Joe and Tuna talking about him, and he's definitely easy to root for. Absolutely,
Yeah.
you said it the best way. Yeah. Andrew's excited for the DBs. Yep. I'll have him on lockdown. Sheriff Joe is saying Tyler Davis is such a sweet rotational piece on defense. His progression has been sweet. What are your thoughts on Tyler Davis? Agreed with this statement.
Yeah. The fact that we have him so deep down in the roster as a rotational piece just speaks to how deep our defensive line is in general. Because you take out where the Rams ended up drafting him and where he ended up getting picked, and you just look at the player that he is, this is a guy that probably should be seeing more snaps than what he's getting.
Yep.
But the snaps that he gets, kind of similar to Jordan Whittington, he seems to capitalize on. And I think this is something that Sheriff Joe Bags talked about a lot with his get off and how good his get off is. That is something that you notice really well. And he's also just like a crazy athlete. Like I remember seeing in preseason last year and then some plays that he's gotten in on just with his time with the Rams. He has that effort and that motor to chase down a screen like as the blocks are developing and get there. And then he has the get off. He's a very good athlete, and it seems like he's putting in the work behind the scenes for actually like understanding what our defense wants out of him and being able to capitalize to the fact where I don't know what his snaps looked like last week against the Texans and how many snaps he got, but he capitalized with that sack he had, and I'm sure he helped against the run too.
I'm gonna look that up here. Snap count, just Texans. He played 33% of the snaps.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's more than I thought actually.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think he's a good player to build around. I like where we have him right now, but it's not like we're relying on him to be the guy. But I think the role he's in right now, he's just going to continue to ascend. And I think he's a player that not many Rams fans talk about, to be honest.
Yeah, no, and I feel like there's so many players on the Rams that don't get enough hype, right?
I agree, all across the roster.
And you know what? Maybe that should be part of our show every week. Like, let's just hype up the Rams no one's talking about, right?
That would be fun. Get some attention on them, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? We'll give Tyler Davis getting that first award. Yeah. The Rams no one's talking about, but should be. Tyler Davis.
Shout out Sheriff Joe Bags for the call out there.
Absolutely. We got Sinjin in here. Good to see you. Horns up. Willie is Rams defense kept the Texans offense from getting into the red zone. Horns up. Yeah, interesting enough. The Rams defense, quietly one of the better units, like one of the better performances in week one. What do you think the chances are the Rams don't allow a touchdown for the second game in a row here in 2025?
I honestly think the chances are pretty high, just given the opponent that they're playing too. I think if this is a case where you're playing the Eagles, like we're going to in 2 weeks, I would be a little bit less confident. Like in my heart, I'm like, yeah, they can do it. But like looking at it realistically. So I think looking at the opponent that we're playing against and what they did last week against the Broncos and the little bit that we know, I actually do feel pretty confident that we're going to keep them out of the end zone. My score prediction ended up being 24-13 for the Rams. So I do have them getting a touchdown, but I would not be shocked at all if we held them out of the touchdown category.
Well, and I'm in that camp too. I think the only thing is I do believe Cam Ward was worthy of the first overall pick. I do think he is, a talented quarterback. And I think at some point this season, he's going to have a game that like he reminds people why he's the number one overall pick and like just take over the game. I don't think it's this game, but I think that game is coming. But I still expect him to like show, flashes and have maybe that one play that make people go like, oh, right. Like if you remember when the Rams played Drake May and the Patriots last year, I kind of felt like it could be kind of that scenario.
Yeah. Because Drake May actually played pretty well against the Rams defense. I know he had 2 turnovers in that game, but like when you look at some of the plays he was making, especially considering the situation around him, I definitely came away very impressed with him. And seeing what Cam Ward did last week against the Broncos in the short window that I was watching, I was actually really impressed with the kinds of throws that he was making. I was like, this is a rookie. So definitely not somebody to take lightly. I think he'll have his moments. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think I've heard many Rams content creators this week say they're really glad that we're playing Cam Ward early in the year rather than
yeah.
like mid-season where he's kind of coming into form and things like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's always good to get a rookie, especially with the defense that we have this early, where it's still getting their feet wet, not too comfortable yet. So definitely not complaining about where we're getting the Titans for sure.
For sure. Let's speaking of the Titans, let's talk about the Rams versus Titans here. We've talked about kind of the players we're most excited to see. What is it about this game? If the Rams were to somehow lose this game, why do you think it would be?
I honestly think, and I talked about this a lot in my preview video, I honestly think it would be the interior disruption. I thought it would be Jeffrey Simmons and Tefondre Sweat, but Tefondre Sweat is out with an injury now.
Yeah.
But Jeffrey Simmons, us Rams fans know who he is just from that 2021 season. He completely blew up our game plan. And that was a Super Bowl offense that he was playing against. And he made it look like a Jets team. And so I think that if we lose the game, it'll be because they're going to be stopping the run really well, especially up the middle where the Rams like to run, forcing us to pass it. And then when we're passing it, I feel like I can just see it just from that 2021 game where the pressure is just too much, or Stafford may feel like he has to force a couple throws, or there's just like no time for things to progress. I don't know if that, I think we're going to see moments of that happening where he's just disrupting things. But if they were to lose, I would say it's because like all day, that's what the scenario is, you know?
Totally. Well, it's going to be interesting. I think I agree with you, but I do think if for some reason it didn't go the Rams' way, I think it is going to be more the Rams failing to execute than and not to say that the Titans don't have talented players, just they're in a different spot in where they're at as a team than where the Rams are. And I know a lot of Ram fans out there are frustrated that the Rams don't often get a like dominant win, right?
Right.
There's, I still always say a win's a win, especially in the NFL. You got to treasure it, right? And like for this game, the Rams are going on an East Coast trip, different time zone. It's already harder, right? And if you get a field goal win, take it, right? Celebrate. But I do understand the certain part of the Ramley that's like, man, like we should be destroying a team like this, right? And we should be winning like 40-6, right? And I kind of think that the Rams just don't do that, right? Like I think the way that the Rams operate is if they get a lead and they have a dominant lead, they slow the game down. And they just eat up as much clock, they eat it like it's cereal in the morning, right?
Yeah. It's interesting to see how much their identity has kind of changed under McVay, because in his first like few years with the Rams, it was running up the score, like against the Seahawks in Seattle when we put up like 40 plus points and they only had like 6 points. He just kept running it up. But I think McVay has learned the value in like you don't always have to win by 30 plus points, and you don't always have to have the most flashy performance. As long as you get the win, that's what matters most. And I think with the way the team is constructed now, I think you could get those performances where we win like 34-6. I think that this is what the team can do, especially at their peak, and they probably want to be like that. But I also think that they're fine with winning the way that they're winning because it works. It kind of reminds me of the way the Steelers have won for so many decades, where it's like a lot of times fans complain about the way they win because it doesn't look the most flashy. You're not putting up tons of points, but it's a formula that works. And for the Rams case, it's actually gotten you to Super Bowl success and playoff wins. And so as long as you get the win, like you said, that's what matters.
Well, and like, winning 2-0 counts the exact same as winning, 70-3, right?
Yeah. That's the crazy thing about it. It's like, I think college football gets a lot of fans into thinking that you have to win by a bunch of points because that's actually based on a ranking system on like, who did you beat? How many points did you beat them by? Like all that kind of stuff. But for the NFL, it's just like, did you win or did you lose? And that's
Yeah.
what matters. So
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta give a shout out here. Andrew, I think Andrew is actually switching between watching on my channel and watching on your channel.
that's funny.
That's awesome, Andrew. Or maybe he's watching on both channels. That's just really cool of him to do that.
Yeah. What a
Shout out.
supporter. Shout out, Andrew.
He's really excited. So glad Puka came back so quick. Would have been bad if he didn't. Yeah, I kind of think Puka might be prepping for one of the best wide receiver seasons ever. And like to me, that they call it the bandage game, where like he had the bandage on and they stitch him up. Like, first off, we have not talked about enough as a collective fandom, and I'm guilty of this. How insane that is that he got stitches and went back in the game like that.
That's
day.
crazy, actually.
And he still had like 130 yards. Like
that's the crazy thing is like he still popped off and went crazy. He had like 130 yards and like 10 receptions, whatever it was, and he didn't even play the full game. Like imagine if he played the full game, he missed a couple drives there. So I think we're probably spoiled by Puka and everything that he does, where it's like that's just kind of the norm for what he'll do. But that is actually crazy when you think about it.
Well, like, have you ever had stitches before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I know for me, I've had them once. It was on my chin. I cut it while skating, like playing hockey.
Yeah.
And I definitely went to the hospital and then got it stitched up. And I didn't play hockey for probably another like week and a half.
Wow. That's crazy.
Now, to be fair, I was like a teenager at the time. My mom was like,
yeah,
no.
Yeah.
It's different for an NFL player, but it is crazy to think he just got stitched up in the locker room or in the blue tent and was like, yeah, put me in, coach.
That is crazy. And they were talking about even on the broadcast when he came back into the game that like the bandage in the like the padding that they had in there kept slipping and like trying to cover his eye because like of the sweat and all that. And it's like it's crazy how you're just playing through that, like partially like blinded with his vision and the thing going over his eye, and he still puts up like 130 yards. Puka's crazy.
Man, I'm so glad we have Puka.
I know. And his personality too. Like that's such a fun thing about him. He's so like anti-diva.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Rams do a good job of getting receivers like that aren't like the stereotypical diva receiver.
Yeah.
But he just seems to be a happy guy who loves playing football. And I think you have a good point about like this being one of the better seasons for Puka, like stats wise, because he gets better every year. But even looking back to last year, he ended up missing like 6 games. I think he only played 11 games last year and he almost had 1,000 yards in that. And the fact he almost had 1,000 yards with missing that many games, and the Rams were dealing with what they were dealing with the offense being kind of inconsistent. It's like, imagine if this offense gets clicking and then you have Devonta Adams going on the other side. You don't know who you want to double. You don't know how you want to approach it. And Puka, if he actually plays the whole season, like I don't even know what that stat line would look like.
Yeah. Well, I remember because Puka came back on a Thursday night game versus the Vikings from injury last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I had a friend who I was playing in fantasy football, and he told me, he's like, do you really think that Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp coming back is going to change the Rams offense that much? And I immediately was like, absolutely. Like,
yeah,
they're so
they are
different.
the offense.
Yeah, no, like especially Puka, like just he's someone that defenses have to respect, they have to account for, and especially when him and Devonta Adams and now Kyron Williams, if that like if all three of them are churning on all cylinders, this offense could be unstoppable.
Yeah, the amount of weapons that we have, and just different guys that can get it done, the different kinds of ways that the Rams can win football games. It's not like, oh, we have to put up 30 points to win, like where the Bengals last year, where it's like you just got to put up a bunch of points and hope that you win, or oh, we just have to get a bunch of stops because our offense can't do anything. It's like at this peak, this offense could really do whatever they want as long as they stay healthy, and they can make wins look different every week, which is cool.
Totally. Well, and even like I'm thinking, I could see a scenario where like every game with the Rams is just a different way of winning, right? Like that, and that's something that I think in the past 2 seasons have really developed with the Rams, that like They haven't like in early McVay era, it was always like get a lead, suffocate the team like in the second half. Where I feel like the past 2 years, where they've kind of been like these, punchers chance against every good team, and they find ways to win games that maybe aren't the flashiest, but they can do it in so many different ways, right? They can get in a shootout with the Bills like last year and win that. They can have a defensive struggle where neither team scores a touchdown and win that way too. And that's good football.
That is. And a lot of people want you to only be able to win by the way of blowing teams out and think that that's a true strength of a team if you can be doing that. But I'd almost argue that you're a better team if you can adapt and win in every kind of way. And you can play different kinds of games and still win the football game against different kinds of teams. And the Rams have shown us that they can do that. So definitely, I think that's definitely a strength of their team. They can just win in so many different kinds of ways.
Oh man, I'm getting so excited for Sunday's game.
I know. It feels so far away though. It's like 2 days away, but it feels far.
We just got sleep tonight. Then we got Saturday. And hey, it's an early game at least.
It is.
It's in the early window, so that's cool.
Those are always interesting to me. Like it's always I like getting them early, but then the game's over. I'm like, dang, no Rams football for the rest of the day. I kind of like that middle slot.
I hear. I'm actually thinking. So I always stream and do a watch party for every Rams game. I'm actually thinking tomorrow I might do a second game, and I might stream the Falcons game.
Really?
They're the primetime game at night, and I like it's totally because the Rams have their pick, but I feel like in the Rams collective fandom, there's this like Falcons lose, Falcons lose.
It's almost like they're divisional.
It's nothing against the Falcons, but like it's just sort of like we want your pick to be as low as possible.
I think that would be fun if you could do that. Just continue. Hopefully, we continue to see the Falcons lose games to get a better pick.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Sorry, this show is totally like just unscripted here. I'm curious. Let's look at the Falcons schedule here.
All right.
And I'm curious on your opinion because I feel like in my mind, the Falcons go 0-17, things like that. You're maybe more level-headed than I. So here, let me break.
Hey, there's always a chance they go 0-17, even if it doesn't happen.
So, okay. Just do this quick, okay?
Okay.
Win-loss game, Falcons. They've already lost against Tampa. Okay. They're at Minnesota.
Loss.
Okay, 0-2. At Carolina.
Win.
Okay, 1-2. Home, they host the Commanders.
That one's hard, actually.
Yeah.
Just for optimism's sake, let's say loss.
Okay, 1-3. Buffalo.
Loss.
Okay, 1-4. Niners.
Win.
Okay. 2-4. Dolphins.
Win.
Okay, 3-4. New England.
Oh, that's a tough one. What do you think on that one?
I think the Patriots win that one.
Yeah, let's give it to the Patriots.
Okay. So they have 3 wins now. Colts.
Win.
Okay, 4. Panthers again.
Loss because it's divisional.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that. The Saints.
Win.
Yeah, okay. The Jets.
Oh, that's another hard one. Let's go. Oh, I don't know. It's so hard to tell. We've only seen one game of the Jets.
It's true.
Let's give it to the
Jets.
Let's give it to the Jets.
Okay, well, if we have to think about it, we're giving it to the Jets.
Yeah.
The Seahawks.
Loss.
Okay. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Loss.
Yeah. Cardinals. Late in the year.
Win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Late in the year.
Yeah. That's when the Cardinals decide to suck. The Monday Night Football finale, Rams and Falcons.
That's a loss.
Yeah, it is. And then they
Let's go.
finish off the season with the Saints.
Win, I'm going to say.
Okay, so 7-win team. That's not going to get us the first overall pick. So they'll have to be worse than that.
But you never know. Injuries could happen. There's always unpredictability in the NFL.
Yep.
Who knows? We've only seen one week, so
It's true.
It's going to be so fun to track, though. This team is like, it's so hard to tell. There's so much good talent on their team and young talent, but there's also a lot of questions on it from like coaching and the quarterback themselves. So it's hard to predict.
Yep. Andrew's saying here is like, Raheem Morris is the head coach of the Falcons. He did McVay a solid by trading that first round pick.
Yeah, he really did.
Well, let's. Do you think it's cool if we get to some of our segments that we actually have planned out? All right. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Let's do that.
Cool. All
right. So new to my channel, but Payo Time's channel has seen this before. He has coined over Rams action instead of Monday. It's over Rams action Friday. So if you guys have watched Rich Eisen's show, they do this thing called Overreaction Monday. Basically, one of his fellow coworkers makes a bunch of bold takes and he pitches them and says, is this an overreaction or is it like fair, basically? Yeah. So I'm going to be pitching it to both you guys in the chat as well as Payo Time here. We got 5 of them. We're going to start off kind of conservative here. Van Jefferson, as we all know, is on the Titans now, but Tutu Atwell is still on the Rams. Yeah. So will Van Jefferson, is it bold to say Van Jefferson is going to have more receiving yards than Tutu Atwell by the end of the year?
Ooh. You know what? I'm going to say that's a good one. That's a good start. Good start. I'm going to say that is an over Rams action, mainly because the Titans still have Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett. I think I had their depth chart up earlier. Yeah, so because he's kind of buried on their depth chart.
Yeah. So that's the interesting thing too with Tutu. He's not necessarily the 1, 2, or 3 for us. Like, could Whittington take that number 3 spot even though Tutu Atwell is getting paid? I feel like Tutu Atwell is one of those like guys that they'll use more depending on the matchup. So that's where it's more interesting. It's like, I don't know. Which way do you go with it?
I think that Tutu is going to have a couple of games this year that gets him, to 7. I could see him getting 700 yards.
Yeah.
I don't think Van Jefferson gets there.
I think it's interesting too because I saw Tutu Atwell on, it was either a podcast or he's getting interviewed recently. Oh. And I think he got interviewed somewhere in training camp. And so the season hadn't started yet. And they talked about like, why did you come back? And like, why are you going to have a bigger year this year than any of your other years? And he said, I came back and I'm excited for this year because I can actually show what I can do when I'm giving more opportunities. And so he's kind of hinting at like, maybe those conversations happened like behind closed doors, which I'm sure they did, of McVay talking about the different ways he can use him. But kind of like what Sheriff Joe Bags is saying in the chat here, I agree. I feel like Tutu could be more of a matchup independent player when it comes to like against the Texans. I don't think that's the right matchup because we can't be taking deep shots all day against a pass rush like that. And their cornerbacks are very physical. And so, but you could see a different kind of matchup where he pops off. So that's an interesting one to think about though, because they're both a little bit in similar situations.
Yeah. And the thing I love most about Tutu Atwell is he shook the one trick pony label that he had when he got drafted. There was like, oh, he's only a speed guy, right?
Yeah.
He has great hands, right? He's developed his route running. He's still the deep threat. Like that's still kind of his thing, and that's cool. Nothing wrong with having a thing, but he is definitely developed into a solid NFL wide receiver.
Yeah, and I think he's almost at a disadvantage being on this Rams team, not just because you look at the talent that we have at wide receiver, but when you look at the kinds of receiver that McVay likes, like Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, those kinds of guys, and even like Jordan Whittington fits in that same category. They're guys that are very willing blockers. I'm not saying Tutu is not a willing blocker, but like these guys can do things like going through the A and the B gap and getting a block or getting like a crackback block and doing things like that and being physical to where like Tutu Atwell, it might not be the smartest idea to have him going right up the middle or taking a shot over the middle or doing those kinds of things, no matter how willing he is. And so he's already kind of at a disadvantage when you have Whittington and Nakua, who like that's just based on their build and their desire. That's kind of comes naturally to them. But for Tutu, I'm interested to see how much his role could grow in this offense because a lot of the prime Rams receivers that we've seen in McVay's offenses are the guys that do the like crazy dirty work and take those end arounds. And I just don't know if the Rams want him taking a bunch of hits.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but that'll be interesting to track for sure.
Yeah. Okay. That was good. What's your next over Rams action?
Okay. So this one's more general. We say 2025 Rams defense is better than the 2021 Rams defense.
Oh, man. Oh, you went there. Okay, let me talk this out. Okay. Obviously, we know who is on the 2025 with, Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, Poona Ford's there, Byron Young, Braden Fisk. Oh, yeah. Sheriff Joe said too early because, dude, first off, Aaron Donald alone was on the 2021 defense. Jalen Ramsey was there. It might not be an overreaction to say that the 2025 has more depth to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not comfortable saying, it's definitely too early to tell. I'm going to say that's an over Rams action.
How about
maybe more depth, but I think overall, like I'm not ready to say that.
That's fair. How about what I was kind of thinking in making this one is taking the Rams last like 7 games of last season in combination with the game that we saw and kind of like expectations. That's where it's interesting because the Rams had a bunch of games last year where they held their opponent under like 10 points.
Yeah.
And so if you kind of take those in combination, but it's definitely early to tell, but I don't think it's an overreaction to say that they have a chance to be better.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, that's not over Rams action. And yeah, Rams mob here, he's sold. He's saying eye test tells me this defense is better. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
See, I think you could definitely argue that like in terms of top tier talent on the Rams defense in 2021, it was better than what we have right now. But across the board, when you go at every single position, and like you said, the depth at each position, it's like the floor is insanely high. To where on that 2021 defense, you still had great players across the board, but it would kind of vary in terms of their floors and their ceilings that they had. But this is like the Rams floor across the board and the ceilings that these players have, given that they're so young.
Yeah.
On the defensive side of the ball, I think is much higher as an average, as a collective.
Totally. Yeah. Well, you're 2 for 2. Good over Rams action.
All right, number 3. So obviously last week the Rams scored 14 points versus the Texans.
Okay.
Is it bold and an overreaction to say that is the fewest points the Rams will score all season?
Ooh, I like it. Okay.
We may need to pull up the schedule for this one just to see if there's any.
Let's see, Rams schedule. Yeah, that's okay. Can you repeat that one more time for our listeners and viewers?
Yeah. So the Rams scored 14 points last week versus the Texans. Will that be the fewest points that they score all season? Is that an overreaction?
Okay, so I think they score that much against the Titans. I think they're gonna need to score more than that against Philly. There's always the Niners factor where those games are weird.
Yeah.
And
they have Salah again.
Yeah. I'm gonna because I could see a low scoring game against the Niners. You know what though? There's not a ton of elite defense. Like when you're looking at it, like the Eagles, the Texans, but like, and I guess the Ravens have a really good defense too. But the Rams don't play a ton of top 5 defenses.
I would say if I were to pick out the defenses that would be like, I guess, scariest or that has the biggest potential of doing that, I think I'm still very high on the Seahawks defense, and that's divisional on top of it. So I could see there being a chance that it happens against them. And then San Francisco, I could see, but it's hard to tell with their roster right now.
They're
I
such
don't.
a weird team.
Yeah, it's like they have great coaching, which obviously covers up a lot of things. But Seahawks would worry me about doing that potentially. 49ers kind of. So for me, when I'm thinking about it, I don't think that it's an overreaction to say 14 points is the fewest that they'll score all year.
Yeah.
I think the Texans defense could be the best one that we play all year.
Okay. Yeah. And even like when you think of those teams like, the Ravens or the Niners, right? Like I think I'd be more surprised than not if the Rams didn't score 14 points or more.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
yeah.
I would say like I guess if injuries hold off, because we're just gonna act like the Rams stay healthy all year. Would this happen or would it not?
Yeah, no, we turned injuries off in Madden, right?
Yeah. Why can't we just do that in real life? That'd be so fun.
Right? Rams Mob is saying score was 12-6 last time we played the Niners. I could see another game like that, to be honest. Yeah, honestly, it's just the way it is with the Niners. You never know, right? Because they've had high scoring games, they've had low scoring games, right? It could go either way.
And a lot of what made that one lower scoring was the weather, because it was like a downpour for a while.
Well, that's another thing here. Like, how many domes are we playing in?
That's a good point.
Yeah, because
let's see.
That Ravens game, that could be a rain game.
I think they're coming to SoFi though.
No, it's in Baltimore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they go.
Why haven't the Ravens come to SoFi? I feel like have they ever come to SoFi since the Rams moved there? I don't think they have.
I don't know. I do feel like we play in Baltimore a lot. Like
we do. That's so weird.
Huh. Well, and I know because when the Rams or when the NFL added the 17th game, the way that it worked out is the Rams had to play the Ravens then, and it's just the way it's worked out scheduling wise. But yeah, it does seem like we're always seeing the Rams go to Baltimore.
It'd be cool to see them in SoFi, honestly. Hopefully that happens sometime.
Yeah. Well, because here I'm pretty sure they're doing they're going to Baltimore and then they play the Jags over in London.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah, I forgot about that.
But anyway, we'll definitely see. Okay, 3 for 3. Okay, I'm curious. You got 2 more, you say?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear 'em.
This is more game specific for the game we're going to play on Sunday. Okay. Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua will combine for over 200 receiving yards in this game.
Ooh. I'm gonna say that's not an over Rams action. I think that game is coming. I think a lot of people wanted it to be against the Texans, but the Texans had a really good secondary. The Titans secondary is not on that level. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's an over Rams action. I totally could see a scenario where both. You know what? I'll go one step further. I think it's possible Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua have over 100 yards receiving, and I think Kyren Williams can have over 100 yards on the ground as well.
Ooh. See, when you're talking about a game like that, we're probably winning by like double digits, right?
Yeah. I could see it. I could see it in this game.
And if you think about it too, I don't even know if it's that bold of a take to say what I said with 200 receiving yards or more, because last week we almost had that. They were at if you combine them together, they're at 181, 182 yards. That's one more connection over the middle, on a dig route or something that gets you there. So I am obviously kind of a biased Rams fan, so maybe that's what's influencing it. But if you look at last week, Adams wasn't at the peak of going off, and we still almost had 200 combined. So
yeah. Rams Showcase Sheriff Joe is saying Devontae will have a game soon that blows our mind. No reason it can't be against this defense. Agreed, 100%.
Oh yeah. I'm just so thrilled that we have Devontae on our team.
Right?
He's oh man, it's gonna be so fun to watch this season, especially with Stafford.
Totally. All right, you got one more?
Yeah, we got one more. All right, this one I can't take all the credit for because JV Long did bring it up on Between the Horns, but I wanted to bring it to this audience. The first round pick that Atlanta gave us was not the best thing that they gave us this offseason.
I'm assuming you're alluding to Nate Landman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not an over Rams action at
So
all.
you would say that getting him was better than getting the first round pick?
Yeah, I would right now because he helped win us the game.
Yeah.
Right? And like
First round picks don't help you win games. Yeah.
Like I know we did the win-loss game for the Falcons schedule and we said 7 wins, but let's be honest, the Falcons likely are going to be a team that's between 7 and 10 wins, or somewhere in there. And so I don't think that, like, I know a lot of Ram fans are like, yeah, like the Falcons are going to suck and we're going to get the first overall pick and everything's going to come up Rams. We don't know that. We don't know who that player is that the Rams will draft with that pick. The Rams might even trade out of that pick for all we
Yeah. It even literally could be mid-season. You could get rid of the pick for a player.
Absolutely, yeah. So
but that's the crazy thing about it too. It's like first round picks and draft picks in general aren't guarantees. But we know what Nate Landman is, at least so far. So
and what's going to be really curious is, okay, so say Nate Landman keeps up this incredible season, right? Do the Rams finally give a second contract to a linebacker?
That's a good question. I think that he could be one of those guys, especially if there's nothing outside, like distractions wise, going on with him.
Yeah.
It seems like they really like him. This does seem to be that kind of player that they would extend, that they love. It's like the one that not everybody would have thought when they brought him in, of being a guy that would be a long-term, like actually linebacker contract to be give out. But he's only 26. And so
he's in the prime of his career. Yeah.
Yeah. And he seems to love it here already, which who doesn't, honestly?
Don't watch Deshaun Jackson's podcast.
Yeah, that was interesting. It's still weird to me how he got a Super Bowl ring out of that, even though he left the team like mid-season.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of interesting.
A couple of comments here. Yeah, Rams Showcase agrees that Nate, absolutely. Football Nation saying the Falcons could be at the Vikings Sunday night, and it's going to be a hard-fought battle. Yep. Bruce is saying, sure, why not? Puka and Devontae over 200. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Love me some Puka Nacua, don't we all? I feel like Puka Nacua needs some sort of like brand deal with like Nutella to be like Puka Nutella or something like that.
Yeah, that would be great.
I feel like it's coming. It's coming. Truly, the worst part of Nate being so dope is that this was essentially a prove-it deal. I hope he sticks around. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny we're having this conversation after one game.
I know. But I think it's one game on top of what we heard in camp.
Yeah.
Like they were raving about him in camp. And so it's like you have a little bit of information backed up on top of that. But I mean, I don't know. I think for us Rams fans, just seeing a linebacker perform, it's like, is this real? Like, is this actually happening?
With this, it's like, I heard other teams have this.
Yeah, I didn't know it ever happened to us.
Yeah. Oh man. Football Nation's asking, what's the plan after Stafford? It's a great question.
No idea.
And it's so funny hearing Ram fans, and including myself and yourself, speculate about this, because it could be they go the rookie quarterback route. It could be a veteran quarterback route. If you want to talk like total speculation, if Stafford retired, would McVay consider retiring? And then we're looking for a coach and a quarterback, right? Like, we don't know, right? I think it would be kind of a little over the top if we were like, yeah, McVay, he's going to stick around. He's going to coach, Arch Manning or a rookie quarterback, and then we'll go to like 20 Super Bowls with that. Like, we don't know. And I think that the Rams, the blessing that they have is, regardless of what happens with Stafford in next season or the season after, they have, draft capital, which is something the Rams have not had in a long time.
Yeah.
They like extra draft capital. They have a good GM. They have a good culture. They have, a good core group of players for years to come. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see what happens in the future. But I think the plan right now is Stafford, no matter what, right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And who knows how long he could play. Like, this does kind of feel like it could be his last year, but if he wanted to play, I'm sure he could play another 2.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't think we really have the answer to that after just week 1 happened. And I'm glad we don't have to search for the answer right now, to be honest.
We can just enjoy Matthew Stafford slinging the rock around every Sunday. I'm here for that.
What a blessing, man.
Yeah. That was your final over Rams actions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was good. Well done.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody who participated in the chat too.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We'll tune in next week for more over Rams actions. And then in our quest to not copy but to flatter the Rich Eisen show, I also stole a segment from them called "What's More Likely," but it's just the Rams. And so, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to give 2 scenarios, and Rams House and you guys in the chat have to say which one is more likely. All right, and so, for example, let's start off simple here, okay? And so I said, what's more likely? Puka Nacua has 2,000 yards receiving this season, or Devontae Adams scores 12 touchdowns this season.
Oh, that's a really good one, because I could see both of them happening. But if I'm being honest, I think it's more of a guarantee that Devontae scores 12 touchdowns.
Okay.
Because I think a big reason they brought him in too was because of the red zone struggles that we had, especially in the passing game. So I think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns. Puka in his career hasn't been the kind of player that scores a lot of touchdowns. It's more receiving yards and targets that he gets. So I think Devontae's going to have 12 touchdowns. That's more likely, especially when you throw into that, like, we don't want Puka to get hurt, but I feel like there's a chance he could get hurt. In 2,000 yards, in my opinion, it would be harder to eclipse than getting 12 touchdowns.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fair.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah. Football, you think neither? Oh, that's not how you play the game.
Yeah. He says
he agrees with you.
That's a good one, though. Why not just do both? I'm fine with both of those scenarios.
I wouldn't complain.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Okay, these get progressively juicier, in my opinion. Okay. What's more likely? The Rams win the number 1 seed in the NFC, or either the Niners, Seahawks, or Cardinals pick in the top 5 of the NFL draft next year?
I'm gonna say it. Just the Rams are gonna get the number 1 seed. I think that's more likely. I think our division, while it's not like best in the NFL when you look across, I do think it's it has a pretty strong floor. Even if the teams aren't going to be, winning Super Bowls or getting the championship game all across the division, I think that they have a strong floor of like 7-8 wins. And I think that would be enough to get them out of the top 5 pick.
Yeah, I actually think, as much as I want the Rams to get the number 1 seed, I actually think it's more likely that either the Seahawks or the Niners season just implodes. And especially Niners got some stuff going on with injuries. Yeah. The Seahawks, I don't know about the Sam Darnold thing, but so I'm going to say I think either the Seahawks or the Niners, their season just goes downhill, and one of them will be picking in the top 5.
Both of those are great scenarios. I'm down for both of those. I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like the floors of those teams are just high enough to get them out of the top 5.
That's fair.
We'll see, though.
Yeah, well, and Rams Showcase, he's agreeing. He's saying Rams top seed, but any of those teams are capable of collapsing.
Yeah, especially the Cardinals.
Yeah,
they always love to collapse.
Oh, don't worry. I have something about the Cardinals coming up soon.
Oh,
Anyway.
okay. We'll
Hey,
see.
Blue Lock, good to see you, man. And Football Nation agrees. Niners are made of glass. Yep. Yep. Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good. We're talking Rams. Yeah. Okay. What's more likely? Next one. Kyron Williams runs for over 150 yards versus the Titans, or Nate Landman forces another fumble on Sunday.
That's a good one. I'm going to say it's more likely that Nate Landman forces another fumble.
Okay.
I know it's hard to get one in back-to-back games, but I could see it happening. I mean, we saw Tony Pollard, he fumbled last week. Yep. So that gives me a little bit of hope there. But I also think that, I don't know, I know they didn't rank high against the run last year. They didn't have the best run defense against the Broncos last week. I don't know. Like, when I look at the roster, they shouldn't be that bad against the run, in my opinion. So it's like I almost have to see it for myself to like see that they're not great against it. So in that case, I'm going to say Nate Landman gets another fumble.
Okay.
Going bold.
I'm seeing Blue Lock is saying Kyron, Football Nation, liking the questions. Oh, I got some other ones that get even hotter. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
Rams, Sheriff Joe is saying easy money on Landman. Pollard is known. Okay, he agrees with you. And Football Nation is going Kyron for sure. I think I lean Kyron just because I think he's due. I think that Kyron Williams game where Ram fans go like, oh yeah, that's why we gave him a massive amount of money, right? I think that's coming.
Yeah.
Saying also remember this Titans O-line isn't very good. It got sacked. Cam Moore got sacked 6 times last week. Also, their wide receivers can't catch. Yeah, well, we'll see. Okay, you ready for another? What's more likely?
Yeah.
Okay. This one's mean. Okay. What's more likely? The Cardinals lose to the Panthers by 10 points or more, or the Rams put up 40 points on the Titans?
Ooh. So what was the first one? Cardinals lose by 10. You say 10 points or more to who they're playing this weekend?
To the Panthers, yeah.
To the Panthers. Ooh. And that's a good one.
While you're thinking about it, I'll just give context. The Cardinals have a history of really struggling against the Panthers since, I think, 15. They've lost to them 7 times and only beaten them once. And yeah, so the Cardinals, for whatever reason, have this weird thing where they really struggle against the Carolina Panthers. And that's like multiple regime changes for the Panthers. It's just like a thing for them. So I'm saying what's more likely? The Cardinals lose by 10 or more points to the Panthers, or the Rams put up 40 against the Titans on Sunday?
That's a really good question, because it's really like if I think about Jeffrey Simmons being taken out of this whole equation and their pass rush just being like, like average, middle of the pack, I could see that more. I just need to see them protect on the inside enough. And I'm confident that they can, but because of that, I'm going to say it's more likely that the Cardinals lose by 10 or more.
Okay, you're going that route. Okay, it looks like Blue Lock and Sheriff Joe are saying 40 here. Okay, yeah. I think for me, just because I love the narrative of the Cardinals and Panthers, and I don't want it to go away, I'm gonna selfishly say I think that's more likely.
Yeah. So we're twinning on that one.
Yeah.
That same one for that one. That's such a random thing that like just not even a divisional team, just like constantly winning against them all the time. So
well, and like it's really weird because like the 1 year that they beat them was the year that it was like when Sam Darnold and Baker the Panthers were in total disarray, right? And other than that 1 year when the Cardinals beat them, they haven't beaten them at all.
And it cracks me up too how like one of those losses the Cardinals took was when Cam Newton came back just randomly to that game and they still lost. Like I was like, how did that happen?
And it's funny because like if you look at like Cardinals content creators, this week, they all know. Like they all know it's a thing. Like they know it's this like weird thing that they lose to the Panthers.
It's just so random. I love the NFL.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. Okay. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right. This one a little more grounded. What's more likely? The Rams D-line gets 6+ sacks on Cam Ward, or Stafford throws 3+ touchdown passes on Sunday.
I'd say the first one. 6.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm not confident in Stafford, but I'm confident in our defensive line. And being that they just lost Latham, their right tackle, on top of it being a rookie quarterback who has a tendency to hold the ball a little bit longer than he should, I think 6 sacks is more likely.
Yeah. I don't think there's any reason why both those can't happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I think Stafford throws 3 TDs being more likely, just because I think that the matchup is ripe for the Rams wide receivers to get in the end zone this game, especially in the. I really think we see that red zone efficiency improvement this game, and that's so. I'm going Stafford 3 TDs. Looks like Football Nation agrees with me, but Blue Lock is agreeing with you that 6 sacks or more.
I think you're right too that this is one of those games where I wouldn't be surprised if both of them happen. Like I could really see both of those scenarios happening. This game could turn into that game in 2021 against the Giants when we went to the Giants and it was just like we kind of dominated them on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that happening.
Was that the 3rd and 27 game?
No, I was talking about Super Bowl year.
Oh, wait, sorry. Okay, I got to mix it.
No, you're good. That was a fun one too, though.
I think that was 2018. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was either that or 2017.
Because it was Woods on the 3rd and 27 converted.
Oh, still makes my heart sad that Woods is on a practice squad now.
Oh man,
he needs just to come to the Rams and be a coach.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I got 4 more here. I hope you're enjoying this. Okay.
Oh, I am.
I had a fun time making these. Okay. This one's good. What's more likely? Sean McVay calls a timeout in the first quarter, or Jordan Whittington catches a 40+ yard pass?
Oh, I think we've seen it too many times. I love Jordan Whittington, but those first quarter timeouts are very consistent. So I'm going to say first quarter timeout.
Yeah.
I'd love to say I could see Whittington doing that, but what's more likely, I would say, probably
again,
the timeout.
No reason both can't happen, but
yeah.
Blue Lock knows. Yeah, it's probably McVay calling a timeout in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting one here. Oh, this one hurts to say, but I'm going to say it. Okay. So the Rams are facing former Rams Sebastian Joseph Day and punter Johnny Hekker, who are on the Titans. What's more likely? Day sacks Stafford, or Hekker throws and completes a fake punt pass?
I'm going to say second one, just for the vibes. I think that would be hilarious to see, especially if we get the win. I feel like this will be a Titans team that's going to be desperate, and they're going to be needing to rely on something like that. Like it could be 14-3 and we're up early on. Their drive is stalling out and they just need to try to pull something out of the bag of tricks to keep them in the game. I think that Johnny Hekker throwing a pass is more likely.
Well, I feel like Johnny Hekker is like begging his special teams coordinator, like, let me do this. Let me do it. Like, we have nothing to lose. Let me do it. Right? Like,
this is like a career game for him. Letting us down.
He's saying this is the new Sean. He kept all 3 most of the first half last week. Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah. Blue's saying sack. Sheriff Joe is saying Hekker all day. I predicted in this morning. I'm locking it in. Oh, he would love to do it to us. Yeah.
I could just see it too with the type of game that it's going to be. I feel like that just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Rams Mob coming in here with a what's more likely? What's more likely? Emmanuel Forbes pick 6 or Terrence Ferguson touchdown? Ooh, good one.
Ooh. Forbes pick 6, I would say.
Yeah, I for some reason I think Terrence Ferguson just hasn't worked into the offense yet. Seems like he's getting the rookie treatment in regards to that. So I think this early in the year, pick 6 for Forbes is probably more likely.
Yeah, I feel like Terrence Ferguson's injury that he had in camp definitely set him back a little bit of just like getting involved in the offense. But I feel like he's going to get used. I just think that there's a higher chance that Forbes has a pick six just based on the amount of snaps he's going to be out there compared to Ferguson.
Yeah.
But I think Ferguson's going to get some snaps on offense, just being that Colby Parkinson's going to probably miss the game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair. Okay. Back to, I have 3 more. No, sorry, 2 more. I have 2 more. Okay. Okay. Oh, these 2 are good. All right. So context, JJ Watt is the analyst commentator for the Rams and Titans this Sunday. What is more likely? JJ Watt talks more about Jared Verse being an insane, amazing pass rusher, or JJ Watt talks about how he wishes he would have played for Coach Sean McVay.
I'd say the Jared Verse thing. I think.
Let me rephrase that. He talks more about how good of a coach Sean McVay is.
Oh, so is it like, ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so let me rephrase. What's more likely? JJ Watt talks more about Jared Verse being an amazing pass rusher, or he talks how amazing of a coach Sean McVay is. What's more likely?
That is a good one because I could see both of them happening. He obviously knows pass rushing and being an edge defender, so he's going to give his 2 cents there. I'm going to say Jared Verse. That's just his specialty, and so I think he's just going to be probably raving about how good of a player he is more than he is talking about McVay.
Especially if Verse has, like 3 sacks, right? Like every time he does like a bull rush or something, JJ Watt's gonna be like, "Oh, look at Verse," right?
Yeah, this is exactly how you coach it up. Yeah. I can see that.
Blue Lock saying Verse, Rams Mob saying McVay, Rams Showcase is going Verse. Nice. Well, we got another. What's more likely from the chat here? I love this, guys. Yeah. What's more likely? The Rams lose to the Titans or Bears beat the Lions?
Bears beat the Lions.
Bears beat the Lions. Yeah.
Especially
we're thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the Ben Johnson revenge.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the Lions didn't even look that impressive last week. So it's not like they're going up against this daunting team that came off of a huge win.
Yeah.
So I think it's more likely Bears take the win.
Yep. I agree. And yeah, I'm hoping we do not see the Rams lose to the Titans. Yes.
No. Yeah.
See you, Football Nation. Thanks for stopping by, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more. Okay, I got one more. Okay. What's more likely? Tutu Atwell leads the Rams in receiving yards in a game this season, or Troy Reader gets a pick 6 at some point this year?
So, I did not expect that. I'm going to say Tutu Atwell because let's just say in this scenario, injuries aren't a thing. Yeah. So it's not like Tutu Atwell would just inherently be the wide receiver one. I think Tutu Atwell's big play capability and explosiveness could give him the lead, even if it's by a yard, because all you need is like 2 deep bombs, and it could be enough. So,
okay, that's fair.
I also can't even picture Troy Reader getting a pick 6. Like, it doesn't into my head.
So you know what? I'm gonna be bold here.
Ooh,
I'm calling at some point this season, and I'll even say the game. All right. Troy Reader will get a pick 6 this season, and it's going to come against the Saints, Week 9.
I could definitely see that more, given the opponent.
Yeah, no, I
can't picture that.
I think Troy Reader is going to get a pick 6. Not that I don't think Tutu could have a game where he just goes off. and definitely think that's in the cards for Tutu. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this Troy Reader narrative, he gets a lot of hate from Ram fans and frustrations, and some of it I get the frustration. And like when he had that holding call on Sunday, I was like, no, not Troy Reader.
I know. That's
People get mad at him enough.
yeah. We don't need any more fuel for the Troy Reader hate.
No, and I would love for him personally, because he does seem like a good dude, and like he must be the greatest locker room guy ever. I'm just saying.
Mm.
I would love if he gets a pick six and all the Ram fans be like, I love Troy Reader. Like,
I've always been behind him.
yeah, I'm 100%. I've been a reader forever. Like,
I will say, I think if he gets a pick six in a game, I'll be like, am I having a fever dream? Like it won't feel real.
yeah. Oh man. Well, that's all the what's more likely I have here. That was fun.
Those were fun segments. We definitely got to keep those segments going.
Yeah. Well, I think we are starting to get to the end of our time here. Let's maybe talk about this game. Do you have any Rams versus Titans? I know you did a great game preview video earlier.
Thank you.
Maybe build upon that a little bit. What do you think the vibe of this game is going to be?
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be one of those games kind of similar to how I thought the Texans one's going to go, where there'll be a point in the game where there's an offensive lull for us, just like maybe 2 drives ish in there where we're like we can't move the ball. But I think for most of the day the Rams are going to be able to move the ball as long as they can block and pass protect well enough. And I think that this is going to be a game where we actually see more explosives than we did against the Texans, and they're going to be willing to take more of those shots down the field. I could even see like a post route to Devontae or a deep one to Tutu. I think we're going to get some of those mixed in there. But I also think we're going to get a mix of drives where it's like, oh man, I think we could have gotten more out of that drive. And that's kind of how I see the game going. Like I said, I think Rams are going to win 24-13. And so I don't see it being like a crazy big blowout. But I think we're going to have more offensive consistency than we did against the Texans.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I think, and I rarely do this, but I am predicting a blowout win for the Rams.
I love that.
And here's my reasoning why, and it's 100%. I just think that the Rams are a bad matchup for the Titans team as it is right now. Those injuries to the Titans O-line definitely favors the Rams. Like for the second week in a row, the Rams are winning the injury report, right?
Yeah.
And I just think that this is going to be a game where Cam Ward is going to have a couple of turnovers. I think that the Rams I think they're going to have a pretty commanding lead at some point. And I don't see a scenario where, like, if the Rams have a big lead, this Titans team kind of gets back in it and comes back from that. I think Cam Ward is definitely has a lot of potential as a quarterback, but I think he's still taking his rookie licks. And I rarely ever predict like a blowout win or anything like that, but I am predicting kind of a 40-6 kind of game for the Rams here.
Which that would be fun because it's been so long since we've had a game like that. And I think that would probably get a lot of the national media onto the Rams a little bit more, which honestly, like, who cares if the national media thinks we're going to win the Super Bowl or not? But it's been a while since we've had one of those like this is a clinic kind of games for the Rams. But
and just to kind of reiterate, like, I just think the Rams right now are a team trying to win a Super Bowl, where the Titans are a team that are trying to figure out how to win a game. Right?
That's a good point.
Like it's just very different, And I know this is a Super Bowl rematch from 1999, right?
Yeah, I think if I were to put it in more like summary terms, I think that like for this game, it's going to be one of those ones where the Titans are going to be trying to play like the quick passing game, the screens and the runs and all of that, just to try to keep things like easier for Cam Ward against a defense like this. And I think we're going to see Cam Ward make his throws here and there that are like that impress us.
Yeah.
But I think that that's going to be the offense that they're going to try to carry out and rely on their defense to keep them in the game. But I just don't think the Titans defense is going to hold us down enough to where eventually that like dink and dunk offense for the Titans isn't going to be enough. And they're going to have to start pressing. And that's where I predicted that the Rams are going to get 2 turnovers this game. And I think that's going to be 2 interceptions. It could even be an interception and a strip sack, whatever. But I think that eventually that kind of offense that the Titans are going to be trying to do is just like the score is going to be starting to get away from them. And then they're going to start forcing the issue a little bit.
Yeah. Man, I can't wait. And regardless if it's a blowout or it's a 6-3 win, we'll take it, right?
Oh yeah. Just got to keep stacking wins.
Absolutely. Blue Lock, he brought in this. What's more realistic? We beat the Eagles or lose to the Saints? I think beating the Eagles easy. Yeah. Because
I think the Rams are in for some revenge.
Yeah. And it's in SoFi, which helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps. And their run defense on paper should be better. Who knows how that game would have looked if we weren't playing a crazy blizzard.
Yep. No, I
don't know.
Yeah, I know. We'll never know, but we can speculate because that's what we do as YouTubers.
Oh yeah. Gotta speculate.
Yeah. This has been a lot of fun. I look forward to doing this once a week with you, and I hope that we hope that all of you watching enjoyed the show, and thanks for tuning on in. Rams House, do you have any content coming out planned?
Yeah, I'm going to be reacting. Probably I might do a stream tomorrow, but for sure going to be doing a reaction video or stream to the game that happens on Sunday.
Cool.
Against the Titans. Trying to figure out what a good schedule is for doing like post games and all of that in terms of when they should come out. I love to edit videos and I love to put a lot of like production into them, but that does add a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I know people like to get things out quicker. So we may do a post game live stream or just more of like a raw like reaction video after the game. But either way, you're going to get a reaction video to the Titans game and potentially a stream tomorrow. We'll see.
Cool. Sweet. Very cool. Yeah. Well, I'll have my watch party for the Rams versus Titans. And then I think I am going to stream the Atlanta and Minnesota game on prime time as well.
Oh, yeah. Do it. For sure.
I don't know. I get excited about cheering for the Falcons' demise. I guess.
That's so funny.
Oh, and then I'm starting this new thing this year called Rams, like a Rams fan before and after the game. And so I literally record a short video, like 10 seconds of me before the game, like just before it starts. And then as soon as I end my watch party, I record the second half of like the before and after. And it did pretty good last week, the first video of it. So I'm probably gonna do that again.
That's super cool. Yeah, I can't wait to see more Payo time content. Everybody needs a little more Payo in their life.
Oh, you're too kind, my friend. Dude, I'm stoked. Whatever we call this show, however it goes, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. Can't wait for more shows down the line. If you guys have any inspiration on what the name should be of this show, we're all ears because right now we don't have an identity. We're nameless. We need a name.
Rams show on a Friday.
Yeah, we can't have a generic like AI name that we have. No. We got to have something creative in there. So
yeah,
if you guys have any ideas, definitely let us know.
Absolutely, we want to hear all of them in the comments below. Dude, we'll talk later. Everyone else, thank you so much. God bless, and as always, go Rams. Horns up and peace out. And oh wait, Rams says that was my intro. Sorry, that's Force of Habit.
No, you're good. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, horns up and God bless.
There we go.